Much to joining us today. I don't know about you, but it's absolutely baking sunshine here in Cambridge. We're actually just sitting on the beach getting ready to do this with a cool beer for the end of it. So thank you for joining us. We're looking forward to presenting to you today TriSys V10, the Startup Edition. And I'm Neil Packman, and I'm going to be taking you through some of the key features of the product. We're not going to show you every last feature of TriSys, otherwise we would be here a long time. But we're going to show you the main features and functions that we hope will help improve your business, get better productivity out of your consultants, and give you some fantastic reporting. So just to give you a little idea of what we're going to be actually running through today, as you can probably see, well, I'm just going to push the screens up now so you can actually see the screen. So hopefully now you can actually see the TriSys screen in front of you. And we're away. So, what have you got in front of you? Well, this is the main TriSys screen. We're going to talk to you about all of these dials and charts in just a moment. But what I'm going to be doing today is just taking you through a logical presentation of some of our core features and functions. I'm going to be starting after I've taken you through the dashboard. I'm actually going to start going through the CV auto recognition, where we've actually got some enhanced features over the existing product, and we're going to be bringing on board the CV and opening up a new candidate record. We're going to take you through a contact record and show you what one of those looks like with some new additional features on here, particularly social networking. We're also going to take you through a company record as well. And then we're going to move on and do a placement. Now, we are going to do a permanent placement for those of you in the permanent marketplace, and we're also going to do a temporary placement. And we won't spend too long on either of those, but if you're not in one of the markets, please bear with us, because we're going to move on to some other functions that will help your business as well. So both of those presentations coming up. We're going through the booking sheet, which is an amazing feature that we've just introduced. We're going to briefly look at the diary manager and the timesheets as well. And during the course of this, obviously, we're going to be doing a little bit of searching too. Right at the end of the presentation, we're going to show you the reporting from TriSys V10, the Startup Edition, and we're going to be showing you how you can very, very easily configure some amazing reports. Reports can be built to meet the needs of the FD, the consultants, or managers within your business. So there's a huge amount of flexibility in here. So there's some great features to show you during our presentation. We build it to run for about 30 to 40 minutes, but I might just go on all night. You never know. So we'll try and keep to time for you. You have the ability to ask questions. You can answer them too if you want. You can ask questions, and we'll try and answer them as we go along. But it might be easier to do that at the end. If you really want some extra information and to place an order, please give us a call on the office number when we've finished, and we'll gladly help you. So let me take you through the first screen that you can actually see. If you can't hear me, then raise your hand. But if you can, we'll keep firing away now. So what have we got here? These are all configurable screens. This is what we call our dashboard. Those of you who've seen previous versions of TriSys will have seen a little bit of information available on these, but now we've got extensive information. Now, this won't be relevant to all of your businesses, but these screens are configurable by you and for you to meet the needs of your business and your organization. So let's just give you a little overview of some of the items that you've actually got on here. So here we've got a financial forecast for the company. I'm in the top left-hand corner here, and you'll see some charts showing me some forecast lines. For my permanent fees, they're in permanent. For my temp margins here in the blue, and a forecast across the whole of my business. So at a glance, you can see exactly what's going to be happening in your business over the next few weeks or months. And again, these are configurable and don't replace the permanent reports that we can also deliver for you. Here's a couple of actual dials and screens that we've got available. Here's the shifts worked last week for those of you in the temporary market. You could have that for permanent placements. In fact, there's a wide range of parameters you can actually use these screens for. Here we've got contractors working. It shows me how many people we've got out at the moment. Bottom right-hand side now, we're down to financial forecast by division. You saw earlier we did the whole business on the top left-hand side. Down on the bottom right here, we've got a forecast by individual division. So you can see that the Cambridge division is wavering up and down here, landscaping, doing a bit more of a flat line, and horticulture, a few lumps and bumps in here. So you can set this up perhaps even just for individual consultants, by divisions, or by departments within your organization. The idea is KPIs at a glance, showing you what's happening in the business, giving you an indication of areas you need to look at with a view to helping to improve your performance. We've got some placement values here. You'll see it along the bottom here. We've got some recruiters. You can headhunt any of these if you like. Fred blogs, not unique to us, I don't think. This is showing us now over quite a long period, a number of years, but you can again show this criteria over weeks, months or quarters, dependent on your requirements. And then we've got a forecast again by consultant. And we've now, on this occasion, I've got an individual consultant showing you the months that they've worked. So what you can see here is real-time information that delivers key information that helps you run the business. If you want to do some simple configuration work on here, and I'm not going to go too mad on customizing today, but you'll see a whole host of different dials that I've actually got up on here. For all of the reports that we've got on TriSys, you can actually configure these to meet your needs. So it's very, very simple to use, very, very straightforward to use, and highly configurable. So I'm not going to play too much with that at this moment in time, but that is the dashboard giving you your KPIs for the business. So what else can you see as you log into the system? Well, the next thing we can actually see, top left-hand corner now, I'm going to Recruitment Activity Summary. Now this is a very, very valuable tool for managers and individual recruiters as well. And you'll see we've got a few screens of information on here. So what I've got on the top left-hand side is, it's Monday morning, I've come into the office, I want to know what's in my diary for the week. I could choose the month or just for a day if I required, when you've got a lot of information in there. Just showing me the key actions and activities I'm going to be undertaking for the week. That means I'm aware of what's happening, anything I need to move forwards or backwards I can, any key issues that I might identify I can address. Just so I don't forget, I've got my live requirements here. This is all the current vacancies I've got. You can see we're very busy in this particular agency, and try not to pinch these positions off us, won't you? So this is live requirements. You can kick into any of these at any point. And down here I've got, for the temporary market, I've got some contractors working, and any finishers might be shown in the screen here. The idea of this is that as a recruiter you can see what's happening in your world at the moment. As a manager, you have the choice of going in and looking at the diaries of any of your team. If somebody's off, if somebody's late, if somebody's delayed, or if they've left the business, you've got an overview of exactly what's in the diary. But of course you can go into their contact manager and their diary individually and have a good look at what's happening. We've also got a couple of summary screens in here. We haven't configured this one, but we'd have a list of people actively looking for work if you wished to help you along. You've got a list of your emails if you wish to see what's happening here. But the idea of this really is to show you what's happening. And don't forget, this is a product that actually is hosted in the cloud. You can log in anywhere to actually access TriSys. This is a cloud-based solution, downloadable today. You can pay for it today as well. And we look forward to receiving your orders on that. So what we've got at the moment then is the dashboard, and that's a little overview of the features and functions there. So what I'm going to do now is actually I'm going to move into Microsoft Outlook. And what I'm going to do is actually get a CV, and I'm going to parse it in and create a candidate record. Now you'll argue that any system can do this. The advantage we have on here now is that we've got some extra facilities on our parsing. So what we can actually do now is actually take more than just the addressing detail fields. What we're going to be doing is actually processing this. So I've clicked on the icon and it's brought up a workflow manager, and it's got a process email. So yes, I do want to process that email, and I'm going to grab that now and I'm going to open up TriSys. On the left hand side you'll now see the CV of the candidate, and on the right hand side you'll actually see now TriSys actually adding to it details from the candidate CV. So name, address, telephone number and core details are actually appearing on the screen on the left hand side, and on the right hand side what we've now got is the TriSys screen actually taking that information across. If for any reason an item had been missed, you simply just drag and just drop it in if you require. It's grabbed all the items I want it to at the moment, so I'm happy with that at the moment. So on the screen on the right hand side, you'll now see I've got some little buttons on here. The first one's actually now taking the job work history. So an additional feature for you now on this product is we're not only taking basic contact information, I've now got work history being parsed from the CV and loaded into TriSys. I've got on here an educational history. If it was mine, it would be a bit embarrassing. 25 yards swimming probably isn't education, but it stops you drowning. So educational history in here as well. There's also a facility within TriSys to actually identify key skills that you may want to actually recognize from the CV and automatically add. This is an optional facility, so you can do this automatically using the parser here on TriSys, or you can manually add these later, perhaps after you've had a meeting with a client. So there's an option for you on here. It's grabbed some comments as well and a summary out of the CV. And furthermore, if there's a picture in there, it might grab that as well. There's a very good reason I'm not on webcam today, but I'll let you work that one out. So what we've done now at this stage is we've got the CV, we've auto-parsed a lot of information on the right-hand side. What I'm going to do now is actually create a new candidate record. But before I do that, just at the bottom of the screen is actually showing me that I potentially have got a duplicate for this particular person. So clearly one of the issues we don't want to do is actually have lots of duplicates within your database. So it identifies the potential copies that you may have and enables you to make a decision as to whether you update the existing record or ignore it or go further. So actually what I'm going to do, I'm just actually going to create a new candidate record just to show you how that works, and simply just click on the button here and the new candidate record will pop up on screen in front of me. So this process of course can be done very, very quickly. The idea is that your staff don't spend a lot of time doing manual operations, doing admin functions. The idea is there's a lot of automation, a lot of processing power for you here. What we're simply doing now is actually just quickly opening up a new candidate record, and off we go. So that's about to log in here, and the candidate record is actually going to appear in front of me on the screen. So there we go. So what you'll see now is we've got all of the obvious things you'd expect. We've just taken all of this information off that person's CV, and we've now got a person we're now ready to start communicating with. So we now want to actually set up a meeting with this person. So what I'm actually going to do is I want to have a meeting, I want to actually ask them a few more questions. So we've got a number of actions within TriSys. We are very, very closely integrated with Microsoft Office and Microsoft Outlook. And within TriSys there are a number of templates. And these templates have been built up over a number of years working with our existing clients. These templates you can use when you get the system new. You can amend them and you can add your own templates onto the system. So it's a very dynamic and flexible system. So what we're going to do now is we're simply going to set up a meeting. And what this meeting request is going to do, it's going to create an email to go to that candidate, and all of the information I'm going to input in terms of the time, the date, the place, etc. is going to autofill into your template so it looks professional and it's very, very quick to activate. And you can use these templates for a whole range of different functions. You can use them for running email campaigns. You can use them for notification of jobs. You can use them when you're sending CVs out. You can use them when you're actually talking to new clients. There's a whole range of applications, and as I say, the templates are very, very simple to set up for you. So what we're going to do now, we're actually going to go in and actually set up a meeting. Just simply click on the meeting button, and that will now actually come up on the screen in just a moment. And in 2 seconds time that will pop up. Apparently I'm clicking too many times. It's a shaky finger afternoon today. Nothing to do with my weekend, I can assure you. I was down the gym the whole time and didn't once have a pint of beer. So in fact what I'll do now is actually just move on to a slightly different functional area on here because there we go. What I've got now is a small template that's actually just appeared. So in the middle of the screen, as you can see, we've now got a template appearing. You can see it moving around there just to prove it's live. And what we're going to do now, we've got a number of different options that we've got on here. You can see in the center of the screen, I've got a number of different items I can actually put on here, but I'm simply going to put a meeting on. So I'm just going to click on that. I can choose different locations. This is my offices here, so we'll actually just confirm that it's going to be the Cambridge office, and we can do a follow-up on that as well if we wish. So first thing we're going to do is set up the meeting, so we're going to do that on Monday the 14th. We'll just pick a time for it, and we'll just have that at 5:15. And if I want to, I've got an alarm capability on here as well. So very, very quick, very, very simple to use. Just simply press the next button. Every time you actually do a piece of correspondence using a template, you can always add an existing document that you may have. So when you're talking to new clients, you can send your terms and conditions. When you're inviting into meetings, you can send maps, etc. I'm just randomly just going to attach another document to show you how that's actually done. It's very, very simple indeed. So the next thing I'm going to do is actually now just click onto the next button. Logical workflow, very, very simple. And it will now actually create an email for me. So what you can see now in front of you is that what it's done, it's actually said, pleased to say we've got a meeting together. It's got the date, it's got the time of that meeting in here as well, and obviously it's got the name of the person that we want to have at the meeting. It's very, very simple. Simply move on to the next button now and finish, and what that's going to do is compile the email and send that up. So that's very, very easy to set up, very, very easy to deliver, very, very fast. The idea is that we've got a very simple to use system, very, very effective system, and one that your staff will be able to quickly use. And you'll see confirmation email has just appeared on screen in front of me now. So as you can see, nice and simple, nice and clear, nice and straightforward. So we've now got in here a candidate record. What are some of the things that we can see in here? Well, obviously a couple of fields are actually missing, so we can pop those in if we require. Date of birth, we better have that as something a bit more realistic. 1900 would make them particularly old. We can put when their availability is on here as well if we wish. And of course the type of work they require can be added. It can be a combination of permanent, contract, or temporary, because TriSys can be used in a whole range of different environments. Whether you're in search and selection, whether you're in permanent, whether you're in contract, whether you're in interim, TriSys Startup is a flexible product that will be able to be used by your organization. It's also got in here as well their current remuneration. So again, we've got some flexibility in terms of the salary. We can put down hourly, we can put down daily, weekly, monthly, etc. So again, very, very flexible. And it's very important today, of course, as to whether you've actually seen identity papers. So we're just checking here. We've got an EU passport. We might have some comments on here about that. And where required, you can actually click and add any documentation. So if you've taken some sort of PDF, you've taken a copy of a document and you've scanned it in, you could actually attach that to the candidate record. So in here now, we've obviously got this candidate record. What I'm going to do now is just show you what an existing record looks like, because there's a couple of additional fields that I'd like to actually show you within the system. So I'm just going to simply save that record. What I'm now going to do is just open up an existing record of somebody we registered earlier, as in the famous Blue Peter. Here's one we prepared earlier. It's a terrible cliche. Somebody over here is nearly having a heart attack with all these cliches coming flying out. We're getting many questions coming in at the moment. No questions. If you do want to ask any questions, you can do at any point. If you don't, then don't worry about it. It's not mandatory. So we're just waiting for that record just to pop up on screen now. And when it does, we're going to take you into a couple of other fields. So in here you'll see some items that are going to be very, very useful for you as you're actually talking to your candidates. And the first field that I've actually clicked on is social networks. Many of you today, we know, are using the social networks to identify candidates, to find candidates, to communicate with candidates. In fact, TriSys recently hosted a seminar on social networking, which is very, very well attended, and we had a huge amount of interest in our product and in our solutions at that particular meeting. What you'll see in here is that we've got some interfaces into some social networks. So what we can actually do now is actually show you what it would actually look like. So here's my LinkedIn connection. All I have to do is just press the view button, and it will now bring up the details of that individual, and I can have a look at their record. What we don't do at TriSys, our product is not the product you use to actually go out and search the social networks for your CVs. What we are simply doing on here is providing you with the information that you've gathered when you've actually gone out and found candidates and found potential opportunities, and we actually record that information here on TriSys. So valuable information on here. Other information on the person here, let's have a look at a couple of fields. If this person's worked for you previously, it'll give us obviously records of their previous job roles that they've actually had from you. Very, very importantly, both in a candidate record and in a company record, it will actually show you details of their notes history as well. Now, you've always got, when you've got one of these grids, as we call them, filled in, you've got a filter to reduce the information. So if you've got thousands of emails or thousands of calls or lots of notes in here, you could actually edit it down just to see perhaps the most relevant information. The good thing is, though, you can always see what's previously happened, provided, of course, you or your consultants have filled in the relevant fields. Obviously, training is an important part of what we here at TriSys deliver. You've got a number of options for training. Once you've purchased your system, you can either have online training from us, which we'll happily deliver for you. You can come to sunny Cambridge and have one of our one-day sessions, or if you like, we can send one of our team out to your offices. So training is an important part of the system. We've got scheduled tasks in the system here as well for actions and activities that you need to carry out. And also there's a temp calendar showing their availability. And I'm going to come into that one very, very shortly so you can see exactly what's available in there. So we've got a few fields here now of the system. Some basic information about that person. I think you'll agree it covers most of the areas most of your businesses will need. If there's anything else you require, just let me or one of the team know and we'll have a look at that for you. Let's just show you a company record now and let you know what that actually looks like. So we're just going to open up now an existing record for a company, another one we've prepared. This is Sandringham Estate. It's actually showing you a list here in the grid of all of my contacts, and obviously that's very important information. We've got a connection list here, an organogram. Nearly didn't manage to say that on a Monday afternoon. Don't want to get that one wrong, I don't think, and showing you some connections between various people. Any rate cards you may have agreed are available. There's some back office information on here, and most importantly, you've got previous requirements. So when you're taking a job from a client, you can actually reuse a requirement that you opened on a previous occasion if that's required. It makes it very quick. It makes it very easy to actually book another opportunity. We've got on here previous placements, and of course we've got our notes history as well. There is a facility here for preferred candidates. For clients who've used people on a temporary or contract basis on a regular basis, then there's an opportunity of actually showing preferred candidates. So that's actually now a view of the client and the candidate screen. Lots of information, lots of history in there. So let's actually show you what we do now to actually create a new requirement. We're going to quickly work our way through this and show you a new requirement. Again, we're very happy to open up any question and answer sessions as we go through. Don't think any of you have answered anything at this stage. We've got one person. Thank you for that. Just making sure you're paying attention. So appreciate your attendance here this afternoon. So what we're going to do now is just quickly actually just set up a new opportunity. So I'm just actually now going to click on a new requirement, and that will just pop up on the screen in a moment. and we're just waiting for that to actually just arrive on here. Simple thing we're going to do with the requirements is we're actually going to go in, we're going to set up the salaries you can see on the screen in front of you. We're actually going to go in and we're going to put the job requirements on there. So the first thing we're actually going to do now is just actually put a client name in there, and I happen to know I've got a gentleman called Charles Avery on the phone. So we're going to put Charles's name in here, Charles and Avery, and here we go. His record will come up on here. Just double click on that. That's the organisation, and we're now going to put the job title in. Now, these drop-down lists, there are a number of them across TriSys. You can bespoke these, you can customise these to meet the needs of your business and your organisation. So simply get TriSys, customize it to make it work the way you want to make it to work, add and change as you use the system. In other words, you've got a great product that's easily configurable for your organization. So we've now got a job title in there, we've got a contact, we just need to save that to make sure we don't lose any of our records, and what we're now going to do is simply just pop in a salary. So we're going to put in a nice big healthy salary just for my amusement today. There we are, we've got a salary in there. Let's put another 0 on that just for the sheer fun of it. £40,000 in there. It's asking how many days a week, how many hours, etc. Are there any benefits in here? Well, one thing we'll put in is a car. We'll put that's included, and it's asking us for a value of that as well. So we'll just put something nice and cheap in there, a little £10,000 vehicle. And what you'll see now in the records is that it will actually show now the car included within the package. What we can also do is if we go back into that salary, into the creator there, we can actually put a percentage for the fee as well. Just flick through that and it's now showing me a little visual breakdown of the salary that I've actually put into this package. So we're simply going to apply that now and off we go. We can go into what's called attributes, and we can add some of the core skills we're looking for from this person. So my database here is set up all to work in horticulture. It's easy for me to say, you might add. So what I've got in here is some qualifications built around that, and I've also got some skills in that area as well. And you can see I can very, very quickly build up a profile, and here are some skills in that sector as well. And once I've actually selected all of those, they're ready to go for a search. So looking at the search, when I'm going to searches, I can search for temps, I can search for jobs, I can search for companies, I can search for individuals. The power of the search on here is actually quite phenomenally flexible, easy to use for you, very, very dynamic. And if you use regular searches, you can simply save them. So instead of starting a new search every time, you can simply reutilize the search you previously used. So what I'm doing now is just actually moving through to show you some of the search fields. We're not going to do anything too complex today. You can already see, I'm sure, in the middle of the screen, a whole list of criteria that I can actually do a search by. So you'll see earlier that we were actually putting attributes and skills in. So let's actually look at horticultural qualifications. I can simply go down in here now and choose perhaps somebody with 2 years experience. What it's actually doing now is showing me I've got 11 matches to that. I can go into some other areas as well. I can go into availability date. I can go into remuneration. I can go into CV search. I can go into education. I can actually do a whole set of different fields as I work through. It's very, very simple, very, very fast, and very, very flexible. So whenever you're doing a search, if it's for a job, if it's for a placement, if it's for a company, if it's for an opportunity, very, very flexible, very dynamic. So we simply just actually key on the search now, and we've actually got a list of people available within that search field. I can do one or two things now. I can actually look at the CV viewer, and of course there isn't one for that particular person, but what I've got on the left-hand side here is a little candidate summary. So as I work my way down the list of candidates on the left-hand side, I can see details about those individuals in the candidate summary. So I've got previous placements, I've got a bit of history on contacts with that person, lots of contacts in there, and I've also got a schedule of contacts I might have had with that individual. So you have the choice as to how you look at an individual as you work your way through. So you've got the summary information on the right-hand side, candidate summary, or the CV viewer. Or if you wish, you can actually go into the View Candidate screen, which is at the top here. So I simply pick a candidate that I'm actually interested in, and I simply then view the candidate. It will bring up that candidate screen that you saw me setting up earlier. I can now make a decision as to what I want to do, and I then flick back into my job requirements and back into my original list. So in other words, it's very, very fast, it's very, very flexible. So work your way through your list. You can now email all of these people if you wish, asking them for free. You can set up an SMS. You can just simply phone call them. It's up to you. The next thing I can do now is actually add people to a short list. So I've decided, having been down this list now, that a couple of the people here I now want to shortlist. So I simply add them to my shortlist, and on the tab that says shortlist, you'll now see that their details will actually appear, or they should do in just a moment. There we go. As you talk to the candidates and you go through, it takes you through all of the different stages. So every time you go and look at that shortlist, it will show you where each individual person is in that process. That means you can keep track of what's happening with each and every one of the candidates that actually is in the marketplace for you. So there's lots of other facilities on here, lots more detail I can show you, but what I'd like to do really is move on and show you a couple of other features of TriSys so that we don't keep you longer than the allotted 3.5 hours that we promised you we do this demonstration and presentation in this afternoon. Again, we've got a couple more questions coming in. Thank you very much indeed for those. Your interest again is very, very important for us. Let me very quickly show you the booking sheet for temporary placements. We're going to come in and do a very, very quick temporary placement, and then we're going to quickly show you the reports and a little bit on the configuration of TriSys. In about 8 minutes' time, we'll have completed our presentation for you. So, very, very briefly, if you're in the permanent market, please hang on, because you never know when you might need this, and I do want you to see a little bit of detail about the business intelligence and the reporting that we're actually going to be available for you within TriSys. So what have I got in front of me now? Well, actually, I've got a complete calendar of all of my people and all of my positions that are available. Again, I can use my filter to reduce this down, and these screens are all color-coded. So what you'll see in front of me is a dynamic, real-time, live booking system. I can see the candidates that are available for general work. I've set up a list here for all of the people who said they will do gardening work. And at the top of the screen here, I've got a list of all of the positions that are available. So one of the things I can simply do is have a look down this list to see what is happening. And you can see as I highlight, it actually gives me an overview of what's happening with each position. I'm looking for a botanist at Althorpe. I've got one requirement, I've got one assigned, one confirmed, one checked in. If I move further down, I've got one requirement, but nobody's actually assigned or confirmed. And further into the marketplace, you'll actually see that I've got L. Howard in that position for garden designer. But as you go through, you can see, you can look at the requirement in detail. You can view the placement. You can add candidates. You can confirm candidates. I can confirm Leslie Howard. I can check in the candidates. It will give me a drop-in list of people to check them in. I can remove them, and I can unconfirm them. It's dynamic, and it's real-time, and it's very, very flexible. If you simply want to just drag somebody from your list of candidates and put them into a job position, you can simply do that. So what I've got here now, on my left-hand side, you'll see that I've actually got my list of available personnel for these particular positions. What I'm now going to do is simply drag somebody across and drop them into a position. So before I do that, let me show you really quickly how you can do a quick new booking. So what I'm going to do now is show you a quick booking in this marketplace. So again, I'm going to quickly just actually add a client on here. So I'm going to use my friend Charles Avery again, because that makes life easy for me. Here we go, Charles Avery. I'm going to look them up on the system and select them. That person is now ready and selected. I'm now going to add a job title, and this is going to get me a list of people who will actually work for me as gardeners. I simply have got them all registered as gardeners. I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to put a multiple booking for, say, 5 gardeners for Charles Avery. I'm ready to do that. All I simply do now is actually click OK. So within a couple of clicks, I've got my client in here. I've got my job description vaguely as a gardener, and it will pull up a list of all the people who are registered to do gardening work. I simply then go onto my next button, and it's actually now asking me for my shift patterns. All I simply do now is go in here and actually configure the shifts. This is as flexible as you want it to be. I can set up any different combination of shifts in here that I wish. I'm going to keep it nice and simple. I'm going to start them on the, let's not start them on the 7th, let's do them on the 14th. Let's have them finishing a couple of weeks afterwards. Quickly in there, and actually now the shifts are all ready to go. Let's actually show you what that looks like. If I want to, I've got flexibility of changing those around, so we can start earlier one day, we can start later another. It's up to you entirely. Complete flexibility as you work your way through there. Next thing I'm going to do now is actually move on and put some rates in here. I'm simply going to use my add button on here, and I'm simply going to put some pay rates in there. I'm simply going to put some margin in to actually calculate. I'm just going to put a simple 10% on. Look, it's sanity checking it for me, making sure I put a sensible amount of money on here as well, so I can make a good profit, so you can make a good profit within your business sector. And I'm now simply going to apply that and go to the finish bar, and what we've got now is we've got our new shift set up for this organization. So as you can see, setting up a new opportunity is very, very fast, it's very, very simple, and it's very, very flexible. All I'm doing now is dragging a candidate. You'll see them right in the middle of the screen going around in little circles, drag them across, drop them into the position, and they're now dropped into that particular shift. So on and so forth. I can also do multiple drag and drop as well, so I can grab a number of different candidates and drop them in as well. So it's very, very simple and very, very fast. So for those of you who are working in a dynamic catering, healthcare, general industrial environment, we can provide you with a very, very fast and flexible solution. So what we've done, we've set up a couple of vacancies. We've set up a permanent one, we've set up a temporary one, and we've drawn up a candidate list for permanent. We found some suitable people, we've shortlisted them, and of course in the booking sheet we've now created the position very quickly and used drag and drop to actually complete those positions. So what I'm going to do now is actually take you back out again. We've got a whole list of timesheets for people who are available, who are working in the temporary marketplace. You can work through these timesheets now and check the hours they've done, and then output that information into your payroll, into your back office side of the business. So a lot of functionality from TriSys for you on the contract and on the permanent side. What I'd like to do now, just for the last couple of minutes, because we promised we wouldn't keep you more than about 35, 40, well, it'd be about 50 minutes maybe at most, is just quickly show you some of the reporting and a powerful, flexible reporting that we've actually got on the system here. I'm actually just going to give you a little overview of some of the items we've got on here. You can actually configure these reports to meet the needs of your business, your consultants, the people viewing the information. If the FD wants micro information, you can give it to them. If the consultants need a general overview, you can actually give them. And don't forget, this system has AWR compliance solutions within it as well, so you can get reporting on people who are coming up to the deadline dates, the 10-week, the 11-week, the 13-week, to make sure that your business is fully covered. So in here you'll see I've got a number of icons. These can all be dragged in to actually help create a report. I've got contact types in. I've got a KPI report in here. It's showing it across a number of different year periods, and I've got a graphical representation. This business intelligence is flexible and dynamic to meet the needs of your individual business. I've got information across the whole company. So in here, I've got tasks, I've got requirements, I've got placements, I've got timesheets, I've got value in pounds, I've got margins. I've got a whole range of information, and the core data can be downloaded into an Excel spreadsheet or into any other format that you might require. It's simple and it's flexible. There's almost too much information, you might add. Well, if there's too much, just reduce some of the fields. It's as simple as that. So in here now, we've got a node of job titles. These are titles we've placed people in within a period. I've got a date of the year. I've got the date and the month in here as well. So a number of reports are available across the system. And without going into too much detail on here, what you can do as the users on this is that you can actually simply just drag and drop. You can slice and dice the data as you require. So I've got new requirements here. I can simply drag that across, and I can put CV sent and drag that into the data field. What I'll do now is that she's just showing me a different graph and chart. Almost any piece of data or information you've got in TriSys you can use for your reporting. It is dynamic, it is flexible, and it's designed to meet the needs of individuals. We've also in here got extensive reporting. Reporting has been set up by us working with our existing clients, existing users, and we've generated a whole range of different reports. And you can generate the reports that you need to meet the requirements of your individual business. So we're just actually kicking them up into place now. It just takes a couple of seconds. It may look complicated. It's very, very straightforward. Once you've actually sat down for a couple of minutes with one of our team and they've helped you through it, you'll find that this is a very, very simple set of functions to use. It's very, very dynamic. And the idea is that you don't have to rely on us to actually put together the reports you need. No code requires to be written. It's within your control. And one of the other main benefits of TriSys is that actually many of the features and functions on here can be very, very easily customized by our team today without the need to actually write code. We've got a software developers kit that can be used by advanced users after training, but is used by our own team to actually make amendments to the system to meet your needs. So again, just to give you an idea, I've got whole lists of reports in here to actually give you information that you might need that will help you run your business. So let's just simply give you a couple of opportunity. Here we've got placement fees by candidates. Simply click on the icon and it will start to actually bring together that detailed report for me. You can create the report with the information you need with your KPIs, and of course you can develop reports for your AWR as well in this area. So you've got companies lists in here, you've got details of contacts. In other words, most of the fields of data within TriSys that are in here can be brought out and can be put into reports to meet your requirements. So let the consultants know when you're purchasing TriSys what you want reports for. We'll show you what's been configured in there already, and we'll then help you to actually configure the system to meet your needs. You can do it yourself. You can put it into all sorts of different charts, graphs, etc. And if you remember way back to the very, very beginning when we started the presentation, you'll have seen how we had the dashboard graphics at the beginning of the presentation. And that was actually giving me details of the real-time information that you chose as a business. And one final thing within TriSys, we're going to take a few questions now. We'll also be happy to talk to you on the phone. If after this you want to chat to one of the team, then please give us a call. There's quite a few of you on the line, so I'm not sure how we're going to get you all to not ring at once. But very simply on here, I have the ability to do a lot of configuration on this system myself. I've got a whole lot of fields I can actually add. Let's just show you one simple thing that I can actually do on here. Just highlight a feature, and simply I've removed a box that I don't need for my business in the sector I'm working in. Now, one thing you don't do when you're a salesman in this is you don't press the save button, otherwise next time you log in, the box you need is not there. So the idea is that you have the ability to do some configuration on here. If it looks too complex, our team can help you. Our team can actually do some of this configuration for you very, very quickly and very, very simply. So the idea of this is we add new fields and give you flexibility to set up a system that actually meets your requirements today. So what we've got in here now is the TriSys solution V10 startup. And what we'd like to do now is just take any questions that you may have on TriSys that we can actually answer online, or as I say, if you wish to, we'll actually have a chat with you on the phone later, or perhaps go into a couple of the areas of the system that perhaps you'd like to see in a little bit more detail. So I can see we've been on here now for 46 minutes. So around about the time I promised that we'd actually do. I hope you've seen enough today to convince you that TriSys V10 Startup delivers what you need for your business. It's flexible, it's easy to configure, it has fantastic dashboard with real-time information, it has CV parsing, taking more than just client contact records but also details from the CV. Has very, very powerful searching on there, drag and drop flexible configuration for temporary requirements, a configurator which is unique to our system, and we don't think any of our competitors on the market will give you a feature like that. And of course we've got web integration as well, so you can grab CVs and candidate records from your websites and deliver information to your company website. I'm Neil Packman. I'd like to thank you for listening to us today. I hope this has been an informative presentation for you. If any of you'd like to answer some questions now, we are actually online now for the next 10 or 15 minutes or so to answer any questions. And if you'd like to give us a call, we'd be delighted to speak to you. And thanks for your support during this presentation. There's a little button on there that's a little raise your hand button. If you actually want to raise your hands and ask any questions, you can do. Somebody's just asked us, how soon can you have this? You can actually download TriSys now, today. You can actually pay for it online as well. So it's available on the newly configured TriSys website. So that's actually available for you today to actually download and pay for. There's an online payment facility, and so you can take that on board now. And of course, for those of you who wish, can of course have a. We're just showing you the TriSys website now, live on screen, so you can see that. With the auto startup on there, and so you've got the TriSys Buy Now facility as well. Somebody's asked, can they have it for free? No, it's not free today. But for just £50 per user per month, you can get the TriSys V10 startup, and that is incredible value for money considering what you've got. The only thing you need to consider on top of that is how you're having your training online, on your site, on our site here, are all available. And so we're ready to take any more questions as well. And we've got a couple more questions here. A couple of people saying the speaker is absolutely rubbish today. I know, I certainly need some practice on this. So I really appreciate your attendance today. You can actually upgrade from the existing TriSys products as well if you require. And if you have any special requirements, of course, talk to me or one of the team about how we might be able to deliver a solution that meets the needs of your business. We've got somebody asking about the reporting. Yeah, the reporting is as flexible as I've shown on there. It might have looked reasonably complex, but obviously in a short amount of time, I could just show you a couple of little features. Really, almost any piece of data that is within the TriSys database can be brought out, and actually it can actually be put into a report. In terms of what we're delivering with TriSys, what happens from here, there is a roadmap for a number of enhancements and additional features as we work our way through the next year. V10 already has hugely exciting set of features, including integration to the social networking sites, that parsing, that temporary requirements. So we're going to be adding a number of wonderful features during the course of the year. And the requirements really are based on the needs of our users, the input of our users. So we thank so many of you coming online today to actually have a look at what's available and also the input you've given to us in terms of what else is available. There's also an enterprise version of TriSys coming out as well, which will actually have additional functionality for those of you who have more advanced requirements. And so that will be available, and obviously we'll keep you up to date with all those items as they come up during the course of the year. So there will be some enhanced back office functionality. I think somebody's just asked about back office. Of course, we are integrated with a number of back office products and services already. What you've got is connection with well-known payroll companies, with well-known accounting companies, and we can provide you with the data and information out of TriSys to actually get your payroll up and running and actually get information into your accounting systems. There is a software developers kit available for enterprise customers. We actually have a number of customers utilizing that already. The idea is that you can start to configure the system to meet the requirements of your business. You don't necessarily need to speak to our organization about writing code. You don't need to go to the expense of having somebody writing bespoke bits of software. A huge amount of flexibility is available within the software developers kit, and we are actually already, say, having customers utilizing that and starting to bespoke their systems to meet their needs. TriSys really offers you a huge amount of flexibility, and we're using Visual Studio and .NET technology to actually help you to actually put together a solution to meet your needs. We've had a couple more questions in terms of features and functions. Certainly the product will be very flexible in the search and selection marketplace. The powerful searching obviously will help people get the right candidates and track your contacts with those individuals. So certainly we could help you in that field. So the gentleman asking that, please give us a call in just a moment, and we'll chat through a couple of the requirements you put on the question screen there as well. If anybody else has got a few questions, we'd be very happy to answer those. We are working with not only people at the back office side of things as well. We're working with organizations at the front end as well. And our partners include people like the wonderful Broadbean, Actonomy, and Daxtra. Integrations have been done to those organizations. So functionality available at the front end for the job broadcasters and the searching as well. So a huge amount of flexibility. Any more questions from anybody now? Very happy to take on board any more questions as well. And we're just let you know that the product, of course, is available as a server-based solution, but today, obviously, we're primarily talking to you about V10 Startup, which, of course, is a hosted solution. And unlike our competitors, we actually use the top hosting organizations in the UK. We use Amazon, Google, Microsoft. It gives us resilience, it gives us reliability, it gives us flexibility, it gives us the capability of delivering you a first-class solution with a high level of availability and a high level of functionality. So we are not necessarily the cheapest, but it's incredibly good value, and we do use very, very high quality organizations to actually host our solution. So this is the V10 Starter Edition. It's data solid, it's a safe, secure, well backed up solution, sits comfortably in the cloud, downloadable wherever you wish, as you'll see, offers a huge amount of flexibility for your organizations. And any more questions for anybody at the moment? We've got a few come flying through in here. Just having a quick look on here now, I've suddenly realized that looking at the questions and talking at the same time is an interesting challenge. I'm a salesman. I'm not designed to listen at all, just keep talking. But we'd like to thank you for your participation in the seminar today. We know that we have got a very, very attractive, powerful, modern, flexible, dynamic recruitment system that will help businesses of all types in all sectors. So we'd like to thank you for your participation. We're going to wrap up now. If you'd like to talk to us, please give us a call in the office, but give us 5 minutes to actually get a cup of tea. We appreciate your help, and we're going to log off now, and hopefully we'll be talking to you all again shortly. So I'm Neil Packman. Appreciate your time this afternoon, and I hope to be speaking to you again very, very shortly.